In 1984, in its single-minded endeavor for technological improvement, Mitsubishi Heavy Industries developed the Mitsubishi MET-SC turbocharger, which far excels previous models in reliability and efficiency. The MET-SC turbocharger is designed to be compatible with all our 2-cycle and 4-cycle diesel engines. Now let us see how the Mitsubishi MET-SC turbocharger is opened up and reassembled. To begin with, let's look at the step-by-step process of an MET-SC turbocharger being disassembled. First, remove the flange from the tachometer cable lead-in hole. Then, attach a sling wire to the silencer. Remove the nuts. And hoist the casing to separate it from the turbocharger. Do this gradually, being careful not to damage the tachometer cable. Finally, remove the tachometer cable from the pickup. Remove the hexagonal bolts. And then fit the lifting pieces to the inner scroll. Screw the starting bolts into the inner scroll. Then sling the inner scroll with a wire rope and pull it out. First, remove the nuts. Then, fit the lifting pieces to the gas inlet inner casing and sling it with a wire rope. Screw the starting bolts into the gas inlet casing. Pull out the casing by the wire sling. During this overhaul, the nozzle ring is kept attached to the casing. Screw the rotor pulling out tube onto the rotor shaft. Attach the stay to the outer casing of the gas inlet. Insert the bolt into the rotor pulling out tube and screw the nut onto the bolt to prevent the rotor shaft from moving towards the turbine. Remove the rotor shaft locking nut using a hook spanner. Screw the hydraulic jack onto the rotor shaft. Connect the hydraulic jack and the hydraulic pump with a rubber hose. Close the hydraulic pump relief valve and raise the pressure until the pointer reaches the blue-colored mark on the pressure gauge. With the MET53SC type shown here as a model, the blue-colored mark represents 370 kilograms per square centimeter. Insert the handle through the hydraulic jack window to loosen the nut. Open the hydraulic pump relief valve. Remove the rubber hose from the hydraulic jack. Remove the hydraulic jack from the rotor shaft. Remove the nut. Then remove the liner. Attach the draw-out tube to the impeller. Screw the starting bolt into the impeller to pull out the impeller. Screw the threaded bars into the sleeve to pull out the sleeve. Then remove the attachment bolts from the support. Screw the starting bolts into the support to pull out the support. The support has a compressor side thrust bearing and compressor side oil labyrinth in it. Screw the threaded bars into the thrust collar to pull out the collar. Screw the rotor guide tube onto the rotor shaft. Remove the bolt previously inserted into the rotor pulling out tube to pull out the rotor shaft. Sling the rotor shaft with a wire rope. Remove the stay and pull out the rotor shaft gradually. First, fit the puller to the oil labyrinth. Then, screw in the starting bolts of the puller. Tighten the starting bolts. And pull out the oil labyrinth. Screw the threaded bars into the oil thrower and pull out the thrower. Screw the threaded bars into the turbine side journal bearing and pull out the bearing. Remove the attachment bolts from the turbine side thrust bearing. Screw the starting bolts into the thrust bearing. Tighten the bolts and remove the bearing. Screw the threaded bars into the compressor side journal bearing to pull out the bearing. This completes the MET-SC overhaul procedures. Now we will run through the reassembly procedure. Basically, reassembly is just the reverse of the overhaul procedure, but a thorough cleaning of the bearing and rotor shaft is required first. First, install the bearing. Install the compressor side journal bearing and apply lubricating oil to it. Apply lubricating oil to the turbine side thrust bearing and install it. Install the turbine side journal bearing. And apply lubricating oil to it. Install the oil thrower. Install the turbine side oil labyrinth. Reinsert the rotor shaft into the casing. Slide the thrust collar onto the rotor shaft. Apply lubricating oil to the compressor side thrust bearing. And install the support. Slide the sleeve up to the midway point of the spline, aligning the matching marks on the rotor shaft and sleeve. Slide on the impeller. Fit the impeller claw into the groove in the sleeve. Make sure that the matching marks on the sleeve and impeller are completely aligned. Slide on the liner and turn the nut on loosely. Screw the hydraulic jack onto the rotor shaft. Insert the impeller and sleeve together using the hydraulic jack and raise the pressure until the pressure gauge pointer reaches the blue mark. Then fasten the nut. Remove the hose and remove the hydraulic jack. Next comes the measurement of clearances. Shift the rotor shaft axially to measure the thrust clearances. With the feeler gauge, measure the turbine blade clearance at 4 circumferential points, that is, at the top, the bottom, and both sides. With the feeler gauge, measure the impeller blade tip clearance. Also at the 4 circumferential points, top, bottom, and both sides. After finishing the measurement of the blade clearances, make sure that the rotor turns smoothly. Also, don't fail to check for rubbing noises. The final step of the process is putting the silencer back in place. Connect the tachometer cable to the pickup. And finally, refit the silencer, being careful not to snag the cable. And refit the flange to the silencer. Now you've gone through the entire process of MET-SC turbocharger overhaul and reassembly. Mitsubishi Heavy Industries has been placing an emphasis on reinforcing its worldwide turbocharger service network. Its agents specializing in MET turbocharger post-sales servicing and maintenance are scattered throughout the world, with engineers and technicians trained in MET turbocharger overhaul and reassembly work ever ready to help the users. Mitsubishi Heavy Industries will continue its efforts for upgrading and refining its turbocharger technology. Thank you very much.